It was very nearly, for the most part, I think our performance was quite good in general play, even though we conceded 4 goals. But here are 5 things we learned to Manchester United's 4-3 defeat in the Carabao Cup to Spurs. Number 1, Amarin ball works. Amarin ball works not only against the smaller clubs, but it works against the higher quality opposition. We've gone away to Man City and now to Spurs, and look at those stats. In previous years, we would get dominated at the Etihad. We would barely touch the ball. Now, I know Man City are going through a tough spell at the minute, but still, to come out basically 50% possession, when in the past we've been scraping 30. I've seen City come to Old Trafford and I think when Foden scored 2, Ronaldo was back at United, and it was a boring game to watch because they went 1-0 up and then they just dominated the ball in the second half. I think they ended up winning 2-0. I think Foden scored both goals, but it's a big change. And even though we didn't win both matches, even though yesterday we conceded a lot of goals, that wasn't down to us. Lack of control in the game. That's what Erik ten Hag used to say a lot. I want to have more control. He never thought, under ten Hag, we never thought we could control a game, go 2-0 up and just dominate possession. With Amarin, we're already seeing early on in these early stages of his Man United career that we are able to control games a lot more. And even though, like I say, we conceded 4 goals, I think we controlled large parts of that game. We have more possession, 54% than Spurs. Look at the amount of goal attempts, 21-9. Granted, they had more shots on target than us, but there were moments in that first half where we had very similar chances to Spurs. You know, those 2 pullbacks to Christian Eriksen where he should have done better than what he did. And then Kulusevski gets a very similar chance and puts it away. But signs are positive. I know, we're out the Carabao Cup. Would have been nice to advance. Would be nice for Ruben to get a domestic trophy in his first year. And now we've got Arsenal in the FA Cup, which is going to be a more difficult game than the one we just had. So it's looking pretty grim for the chances of a trophy. Obviously, we've got the Europa League, which is our best chance. But, you know, with a tough draw, I just like the fact that we are not rolling over. We're not a team that relies on counter-attack, getting dominated and just sort of exploding into action and hitting them on the counter to win these stature of matches. We're not a team that relies on that. We can come to these teams and actually beat them by playing football, which I think is positive. And like I say, even though we've lost, there's encouraging signs. So number 2, we need trustworthy players. The reason why we lost was because of individual errors. In fact, every single goal other than Johnny Evans' corner, the last goal of the game, was by an individual error. The first one, Bayendir should have done a lot better. Just sort of parries it into the path of Solanke. The second one, when the cross comes in, Martinez just dangles a foot. And it again, just falls straight to a Spurs player. Needs to be stronger. The third goal, again, Martinez, all Solanke does is really just shift his weight to the right-hand side. And it completely takes him out of the game. He's like really flat-footed, Martinez. And I'm not saying that we can't trust him eventually, but since Amarin's come in, we have expected Martinez in a back 3. Amarin wants good centre-backs on the ball. You would expect Martinez to thrive under those circumstances, but he hasn't really. He's been pretty poor since Amarin's come in. So it is still a learning phase. It is still an understanding phase for the players. So we need to give it to the end of the season and really evaluate what players we can trust in this squad. And maybe Martinez isn't one of those. We will see. But again, you need to give him time. But one thing's for sure that can't continue. We can't be conceding our defence and goalkeeper a goal from an individual error every single game, because it seems like that. It seems like that's what we're doing. All of our goals that we tend to concede are from sort of lapses in concentration. We've conceded loads of goals from corners, which just shouldn't happen. Or so corners and defensive errors, individual mistakes. You know, if Amarin said that his goal is eventually to win a Premier League. I don't know how long that's going to take. What the foundations of winning Premier League titles are a strong centre-back pairing. You think of Rio Vidic, Terry and Carvalho. You think of even now that have come close, Gabriel Saliba. The mistakes that Martinez made in that game, they probably make maybe 2 of those in an entire season. We've seen Martinez make 2 in a single game. It is not good enough, and we need trustworthy players. I'll put Bayindir in there as well, but obviously his circumstances are different, being the second choice, and we will go on to Bayindir a little bit later. Okay, number 3 is patience with Yoro. I don't think he was awful. Again, he wasn't the worst player in the back line. That was Martinez. But there were situations where he could have done better. And we need to be patient with him. That is his game by numbers. You can see in the bottom right there. 3 clearances, 3 interceptions, 3 tackles, 3 out of 9 long balls successful, 1 out of 1 successful dribbles, 6 out of 9 successful duels won, and a SOFA score rating of 6.5. So, I mean, in terms of stats, not horrific, nothing amazing either. But there were, on a couple of the goals, you can see in the top right there, he looks like he's playing onside Solanke. So Son fires, I think it's Son, fires that ball in, and potentially Bruno to the bottom there, number 8, obviously. His foot, you can't see it hiding behind, I think, Jed Spence, number 29. But let me just get the laser. You can't see his foot. Maybe he would be playing Solanke onside as well, but for sure, Lenny Yoro is further back than the back line. I mean, that arguably could have been his fault, the goal. Obviously, he needs to be anticipating. If you're going to be the furthest back, you need to be anticipating dropping back and, the keeper making a mistake, which he wasn't, and he was also playing Solanke onside. So, I mean, wasn't great on that goal. And then on the second goal as well, his position here for the overlapping run, he's basically holding hands with Mazraoui here. So when that overlap is played through, he's just not got enough space. Like, he'll be much better back here, and then as that ball goes across, you've actually got a chance of intercepting it. Whereas he's way too close to Mazraoui, basically doing the same job. He can't get anywhere near the overlap, and then the ball comes in. I mean, like I say, it's not completely obvious. It's not like he's dropped a clanger and it's obvious like Martinez has, but it's not great. You have to understand, you have to have patience, because with Yoro, he's been injured for quite a while, which means he's had less time on the training ground with Amarin, so understanding his system less. He's getting back to match fitness. So all of those things, and obviously he's still very young. He's got all the attributes to be a top centre-back, so we do need to be patient. And the Euro's a player that, because Madrid wanted him, because United fans are excited about him, he will get a lot of scrutiny from rival fans as well. And we need to be patient with that. We need to be understanding of when he has made a mistake, but to not absolutely rinse him for it, because unlike, he's not a senior player, so you can forgive mistakes more than you can for, say, Martinez making mistakes or Bayendir. But yeah, we need to be patient with Euro. That's number 3. Number 4. Oh. Number 4 is Bayendir is unreliable. We have been spoiled with our number 2 in the past to De Gea, and with Romero, Argentina's number 1 choice. He was a great backup. With Bayendir, I think we need to think about whether or not he is able to be a number 2 at United. Or you just don't play. You just don't play him. Like, Onana's sitting on the bench. Obviously, the physicality, you've got mental drainage with playing lots of games as a goalkeeper. But Onana strikes me as a goalkeeper that doesn't want a night off. He flew back from the AFCON, like, literally. He delayed him going to the AFCON, I think, one time, maybe last season. He delayed him going to the AFCON to play a match for United, and then I think he only basically had, even with the time difference, he only basically had a few hours before he was playing in his AFCON match. So he doesn't strike me as a player that would be like, give me a night off, boss. So we either don't play Bayendir unless we absolutely have to if there's an injury, or we find another second choice, because Bayendir, he's not that good from what I've seen with a ball at his feet, and his shot-stopping ability, granted, this is one game. We've seen Bayendir more than one game, but I think this is the biggest game Bayendir has played in. I think the previous games, a lot of them have been against low-quality opposition, and we haven't really seen much of him. Today, granted, that last goal should have been a foul. I mean, you can see here there's not that much contact, but he is impeding his hand. And if VAR is if usable in the EFL Cup at this stage, then he would have probably been given a foul there. But still, he still should have done better. I mean, he's actually going with this hand. This hand is closest to it. So he still should have, and that is unimpeded. So he still should have dealt with it, even regardless of the infringement here. So yeah, we either get another goalkeeper as a second choice, or we just don't play Bayendir unless we absolutely have to. Now, Onana obviously has made some mistakes in recent weeks as well, but Onana, you can rely on him more to do what Ruben wants his goalkeeper to do with his distribution. Bayendir doesn't seem to have the distribution either to make up for maybe a lack of shot-stopping ability. And finally, pain before gain. Almost in every single press conference, Amarin has said that we're going to experience pain before game, and he's warned fans it's not going to be rosy. You know, we could play with a back four, basically the same as we have been doing in for like the last three managers. Play with a back four. We might get better results right now. We might even be able to win a domestic cup. We might have won tonight playing a back four, but the same problems are still going to creep in. And just after that new manager bounce goes, the same issues are going to kick in. And Amarin has warned this about us time and time again in almost every single press conference. Whether we win, he says, yeah, okay, we've won tonight, but there will be pain. And when we lose, he reminds us, yeah, okay, I did say, you know, it's going to be, I can see improvements, but I did tell you there's going to be pain. And that's what I want. I want a radical change. And that's what we're getting with Amarin. We've played like similar ways under new managers. Like, this is a radical change. This is a radical change in both formation, philosophy, sort of how the manager deals with things, and it's going to take time. So yeah, pain before gain. We are seeing improvements. I think the match against Spurs was encouraging. Obviously, the match against City was very encouraging as well. And yeah, have patience. Like with Yoro, have patience with Ruben, because signs are positive, and I can really see United in a season or two be challenging with how and with transfer windows as well, and giving these players time to work on the training ground, understand his system. I think signs are positive, and I think we can be challenging in a year or so's time. And that is his ultimate aim, to win the Premier League. So whether or not we can do that in a year or two's time, who knows? But signs are encouraging. Thank you for listening to the video. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.